I can have a busy mind at times, a lot of times, and then what I find is meditation just is a really nice way of just stilling that, just coming back to a state of inner peace and quiet.
Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. And welcome everybody to the Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. I'm so grateful to be with you again. You know, if you've watched me for very long, if you've followed me at all, you know I'm always talking about the importance and the foundation of needing to meditate. And I'm looking forward to our guest is a foremost expert, I want to say for sure, on meditation and so much more. And he's going to be really helping you realize, there's this idea, well, we're going to try to meditate. We're working on meditation. I can't meditate. Well, his new book, How to Meditate Without Even Trying, sounds good to me. So I can't wait to find out how that actually works, how he teaches it, how he shares it for others, and how you can start implementing everything he has to share. Because obviously, he's pointing to something even beyond meditation, even in the title. Isn't it interesting? We can feel that right away, right? So looking forward to finding all about it. Peter's got an extensive background and tons of wisdom, knowledge. It's the forward of the book is from Eckhart Tolle, and so it's got to be really good, right? So, all right. So grateful to have you here, Peter.
Lovely to be with you. Looking forward to this.
Okay, so let me guess. You used to have a busy mind. I'm just guessing. My sense of you is you probably had a busy mind, and meditation wasn't always so easy, and that there was maybe a bit a long time ago, but there was a time like that in your life. Am I right or wrong?
Partly, busy mind comes and goes. I can still have a
Yeah.
busy mind today.
Yeah.
Um, the, when I started with TM, Transcendental Meditation, back in the 69, long time ago, 67 actually.
Uh,
Um,
Before
and
I was
TM,
born, I must add, you're doing great.
thank you, thank you. And that always emphasized effortlessness as from the very beginning. And that's what I liked about it. That's why I was drawn to it. And so the effortlessness has always been there. And I think one of the major things is we try too hard to work with our thoughts, get rid of them or whatever. We can go into that. But yes, I can have a busy mind at times, a lot of times. And then what I find is meditation just is a really nice way of just stilling that, just coming back to a state of inner peace and quiet.
Hmm. Yeah, I would say it's similar for me. When I first started meditating, though, I remember some of my first times. I was like, when's this going to be over? Let me get back to. I don't make me stop thinking even for literally a minute. I'd be like, no, 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 no. And so my beginning of meditation was using focus words and things like that. Peace, peace. So I'd be saying peace a lot during my meditations at first. Peace, 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 peace. My mind wanted to be really busy. But it's funny, as I cultivated over the years, I do have the ability to become really still fast when I like when I just really want to be. But I
Yes.
can be very busy in my mind otherwise as well. So I totally relate to that. I think so many of us have such busy minds, right? But the ability to calm that down. Is there a usefulness to a busy mind? Would you say there's a
Oh,
usefulness?
yes.
Mhm.
Well, very useful thinking. I mean, that's what makes us particularly human. Our thinking, we can be creative, we can analyze, we can plan, we can look at things, but it doesn't need to be happening the whole time. It's like we get into a habit of thinking, and one thought leads to another, leads to another, leads to another. And, most of our days are just spent going from one idea, and then something happens, well, from another thought. In meditation, I see it as a way of breaking that pattern. It's like we're coming back, and then we're coming back to letting go of the thinking. And it comes back in the meditation, it will do. And I think this is one of the misunderstandings about meditation is people have this idea that thoughts are bad, thoughts are getting in the way. They think I shouldn't have any thoughts. You will have thoughts. In fact, we now understand it's completely natural to have thoughts in meditation. Nothing wrong at all, because there's something in the brain called the default mode network, which is when you're focusing on something, as we are most of the time, you're focusing on what you're doing, or even focusing on a thought, or whatever it is, where you're focused on something, then you're that's what you're focused on. When you stop focusing and just step back, the brain goes into this what's called the default mode. It used to be thought that that was just the brain on idle. We now know it isn't. It's the brain doing a lot of it can be creative, it's work, it's actually going through things, it's putting things together, it's part of our sense of self. And that comes up when you stop focusing. So as soon as you stop focusing on something, then the default mode network comes up and you find all these thoughts coming in. And I think the error is we think the way to stop it is we need to focus on something again. And that can stop it. So you focus on a mantra or a candlelight or whatever it is. And so a lot of meditation is about focusing the attention to stop the thoughts coming in, which will work. But I find it doesn't really relax the mind because any focusing is actually making the mind just a little bit slightly tense. And so the approach I have is when you notice your thinking, just we can actually make a choice to just let go of it. We make a choice not to follow that thought anymore. Just leave it. Thank you. Right now, don't need you. And just and then in the practice, we'll talk about a bit more later, is just letting the thought go. And then you just come back to being here. Thoughts will come up again, and then you just come back to just being here in the present moment.
Yes, yes. Yeah, it's interesting how that happens. I mean, I find there's times in conversations, even with guests sometimes, where I'm very just present, listening. There is no real thoughts that are really strong or anything. I'm just thinking. And I think it's natural. A lot of people, when we're listening to someone else speak, there's a little bug inside. It's like, I want to say this. I want to say this. I want to say this. It's similar to like with meditation when you're like you're
Yes.
looking to drop your thoughts, like, but I want to think, but I want to think, but I want to think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, try to maintain presence. But what I love about you, and I know you have nuances that are going to be much maybe different than or things maybe people haven't heard before to help them with all this. But I love like the teaching around, yeah, the like, if you try to stop your thoughts, forget about it, ain't gonna happen. You're not gonna really stop your thoughts in a sense, right? I do find like when we meditate, we can obviously get to a place like the other day during one of my meditations. I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll sit down maybe half an hour or whatever. And also, my eyes pop open. I'm like, oh, it's 40 minutes. All right, okay. It's like also you drop. It's like I literally just felt like I disappeared. I wasn't sleeping. I was just
Right.
when you have those experiences in meditation where you just disappear. And so during those times, there are no like clear thoughts whatsoever. There's no sense of
Right.
thoughts, right? But like other than that, like until you get into that state, there's no stopping those thoughts. They're gonna be around, in my
Right.
experience.
Well, I mean, my experience is as you do this thing of like every time a thought comes up, you just withdraw your attention from it, you don't follow it anymore.
Mhm.
Gradually, the mind settles down of its own accord. It's when we're thinking, it's like if we keep on thinking, I use the analogy of putting logs on a campfire. If you keep putting logs on the fire, it keeps burning. If you don't put any more logs on, it gradually dies down. And it's the
Mhm.
same with the mind. If you don't keep going from one thought to another, if you just interrupt that process, you interrupt the monkey mind, and ah, here I am, here I am, here's this moment.
Mhm.
And like, oh, here's my body, here's the sounds. And then the thoughts come back in. But as you do that, gradually, it's like you're not putting more logs on the fire of the mind. And gradually it settles down. And like 5, 10 minutes later, you realize, oh, my mind is a lot quieter than it was before.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So, what are the main challenges you've heard over the years, being a meditation teacher and all? What are the main challenges people throw at you about meditation? Like, I hear a lot, I don't have time to meditate. I just can't sit still, or I just can't seem to discipline myself to do meditation again and again. Or just yeah, whatever all the things are. I'm curious what different various challenges you see that people have with it.
Yes. Well, let's start with them. I don't have time to meditate. It's such a common one. Um, and yet we have times to check our social media, that sort of
Right.
thing. We have times to watch television. It's like
Right.
whatever, or whatever we're doing.
Yes.
So that's a choice. And I think as you start experiencing meditation, you actually enjoy it. Well, I think the way I do it, you actually enjoy the meditation. It's something you want to do. But sometimes, I mean, most people meditate, let's say 15, 20 minutes is what's usually recommended just to come to a quieter state of mind. But sometimes you don't have much time. But what I suggest is, if you've got a day and you meditate, say you meditate in the morning. Some people meditate morning, afternoon, evening. But say you meditate in the morning or in the evening, and you've got to rush to do something. You get up and you've got to rush to get in the car. I say, take a minute, even just a minute, to just sit where you sit to meditate and ah, just quieten down. It does two things. One, if you've got a busy day ahead of you, you're already panicking, not panicking, but you're active, you're thinking, all that stuff. It just lets you just relax a bit more as you go into that day. But secondly, it keeps the practice going so that you're actually meditating each day as a practice. It's not something you do when you have time, but you just do it every day. And when you don't have much time, you just do a much shorter one. So that's
Yeah.
one thing. Um, oh, and another thing that people often say is, "Oh, there's too much noise going on. Too much noise. I can't meditate with all this noise." Thinking that the environment has to be. We're talking about the mind becoming quiet, but we think I can't have a quiet mind in a noisy environment. And it's interesting. I used to run a meditation group in this building, and down the street was a fire station. And you could almost guarantee every time we sat to meditate, some fire truck would come by blasting its siren. And we would say, how can I meditate with that? And so next time I said, next time we meditate, I just said, "Yeah, just see what's actually going on here. Just see what's happening in your mind." And someone afterwards said, I just realized it wasn't the fire truck that was disturbing. It was my wishing it weren't there. My thought, my thought that it was disturbing was what was disturbing me.
Yeah.
And so you can find you have a quiet meditation, even in a noisy environment. If you resist the noise, don't want it, think it shouldn't be there, think it's disturbing meditation, then you will be disturbing your own meditation. But if it's just there, it's a loud sound and it passes. Just yeah. So that's another thing that people often, or going to sleep's another one. People say,
Yeah.
"Oh, when I meditate, I go to sleep." And that can happen, particularly, if you're leading a sort of life where you're tired because of what you're doing. And if you sat down to do anything, sat down, on a nice couch, you probably fall asleep anyway. So that's more a question of your lifestyle. But if you do find you're in that, it often happens in meditation because we're becoming quiet and more relaxed. You feel that sort of dreamy state, like when you're going to sleep naturally, the mind starts dreaming, it gets a bit woozy. It's what they call the hypnagogic state, and you're sort of not quite here. When you notice that coming on, which is sort of the precursor to falling asleep, then what I suggest is you just open your eyes a tiny bit, like just enough to see the floor in front of you. Not what, just enough to little, and that just doing that for a few seconds will actually bring you back to here, being in the present moment, and so you stop that sort of dreaminess going on. And it may happen a couple of times in meditation, but that's the little trick I use, just to open the eyes a little bit and just look at the floor. Um,
Mm.
Another common thing is people, um, well, trying too hard. People say, I've tried to meditate, not getting anywhere, you know, and, my teacher said, oh, you've got to try harder. That, if you're not getting anywhere, you've got to try harder. In my view, trying harder just gets in the way even more. If you're
Mm.
trying to meditation for me is letting go of any trying. That's what I've titled the book, How to Meditate Without Even Trying. And yet, in daily life, trying is good. I mean, you've heard that thing, at first you don't succeed, try again. That's what I always heard as a child. And in many things, if you're training for a sport, practicing music or whatever it is, or whatever it is, and you fail or you're not doing so well, you try harder. And that's completely natural. And it's true in most of our life. Where it is not true is in meditation, where trying harder doesn't make you more successful. Doesn't help. It actually hinders you. It gets in the way. So I think, and there's probably other things that will come to mind, but those are some of the common things I hear from people.
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate, make money meditation today.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say the idea of trying harder and meditate, I would agree. Somebody's not been at it as long as you, but whatever, 20 well over 20 years. But
Well,
I mean, yeah, trying harder, yeah, it just makes your mind noisier, right? So now I could argue like there are things in life where you may see success by trying harder, but the truth is you might have been more successful to do more what we do in meditation to be successful, so to speak, is to let go more, right? I've definitely experienced that.
yeah,
Like, you know what, I'm going to
yeah,
start relaxing playing this tennis match now and just have
yes,
fun and just kind of focus, be present, right? Get in the Zen state.
yeah,
And all of a
yeah,
sudden now everything's going great. I have a good time, and whether the point I get win the point or not, I'm still having a good time, and I tend to do way better in the game anyway. So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
like I think like getting into that place of not trying overall in life is actually a pretty good pointer for most things anyway.
Yeah, that's certainly true. That's certainly true. But I'm just making the point we have the attitude in our culture, you need to try harder. And sometimes it can work, but it definitely doesn't help in meditation. But we take
Yes.
attitude into meditation, it's conditioned into us. And so it's almost a hard thing to let go of. You're like, I really don't have to try. Trying
Mhm.
gets in the way. I don't have to put any effort into it. What are you talking about? Is this just sitting here daydreaming? And no, it
Mhm.
isn't. If you're just daydreaming, you're usually off on thoughts and things like that. You're not fully present. You're in the dream. You're in the daydream. Wherever your mind is going when you're daydreaming, you're not
Mhm.
just here in the moment. You're somewhere else. And the point about meditation is coming back to just being aware of how this moment is, what your experience is. Right now is what I'm seeing out my window, my desk, and what I'm feeling in my body. Faint background sounds in the room. That's my present experience. And it's just, for me, meditation is coming back to that and
Mhm.
relaxing into that experience, not trying to
Mhm.
focus the attention. This is important. What
Mhm.
often happens is people try to focus on the present moment. Oh, there's the clock ticking. Let me focus on that. Or there's that tree out my window. Let me focus on that. It's not focusing on any part of the present moment or my breath
Right.
of meditation. Like, let me focus on my breath. It's not,
Right.
the breath is there. You may notice the breath. You may even notice your heartbeat at times, and just noticing what's going on with what I call a zoomed out awareness. Because most of the time when we're focusing, our attention is zoomed in on what we're doing, what our thoughts, and all of that. In meditation, it's more like just zooming out, like with a camera. If you're
Mhm.
focused,
Mhm.
whatever you're looking at, the flower, you focused on it, zoom out and you see the whole garden and everything. And it's that same thing as that softer, zoomed out awareness. It's just like, here's the present moment, here it is, without me actually focusing on any particular part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I love the I was I think the basic meditation or what have you, but like some of the book that I started reading, I have found this is helpful to get your meditation started. Is I don't know how you described it now, but like working with your breath to get started to help settle yourself can be really helpful, right? You talk about that, but to do the whole meditation constantly following your breath is maybe not the most optimal way, is what I'm hearing you say particularly, but like but to settle in, take a few nice deep breaths or whatever
Yeah,
breath method you want to use, it helps you just settle in. I think
yes.
I've been using that more lately. I didn't used to use breath that way to get started, but I've been using it lately, even before I got your book. But I've been starting to use that. I'm like, oh yeah, this is helpful. This is just feels
Yeah,
good to do that. I got to start.
yeah. Is what I suggest is people just, when you sit down, the first thing to do is just breathe out with a few good sighs. It's like deep breathing out. It's not like
Mhm.
breathing in intensely. It's just like how your breathing is just.
Yeah, I love the sigh part. That works really well. Yeah.
Yeah, and what that does is it. two things. You'll find your body beginning to relax anyway. And part of meditation is the body relaxing. But also, if you're sighing, it's like telling your system everything's okay. If it's that feeling of okayness, there's nothing I need to worry about right now. So the sigh is just telling the system everything's fine. It's all okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's very, very helpful. And so there's so many things that we could get into here. Now, you talk about, really just being present overall. I think that's always like people say, well, feel the like Eckhart, right? Like feel
Yeah.
the life force in your body and all this stuff. And I mean, I think, a lot of us can do that, but I don't know. Do you find that's a challenge for people? This idea of being present, and what do you mean be present? I'm
Uh,
here, you know.
Exactly. It's confusing. It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
confusing.
yeah, yeah.
So let's just, go into what it means to be present, because in one sense, we're always present. We're only ever in the present moment. When we have memories of the past, the memories are appearing in the present moment. When we think about the future, that's in the present moment. When we go off into some fantasy, that's all happening in the present moment. So in that sense, it is true, we're always in the present moment. So,
Mhm,
but then what we're talking about when we say I wasn't present, we mean our attention wasn't present. We
mhm,
were attending to something else, not 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 our experience in the moment. So being present means bringing your attention back to your experience, your actual experience in the moment. And I emphasize experience. It's not thinking about the present moment or labeling it. It's not like, oh, there's a tree. I mean, that is being present, but you're overlaying the present with the thought, there's a tree. It's like what being present means is like, there it is, without labeling it or saying what it is. So, and then it's also just to emphasize for me, and this is a common misunderstanding, it's not about trying to stay present because you won't. You'll be offered. So it's not about trying to stay present. It's about learning how to come back to being present. And then you're off again. How do I come back? How do I come back to the present? And as I said, the way I do that is just by when thoughts come in, the thoughts you see, the thoughts are covering up the present moment. They're taking the attention away from it. So you're not, it's there, but your attention isn't with it. Your attention is with the thought. When you take your attention back from a thought and it's no longer there, here is the moment without the thought. And it's a sense of being at ease, contentment, relaxed. And also there's a sense of mental clarity that comes with it. Just like, because it's like the fog of thought has gone. The fog of the thoughts is no longer there, or they become much fainter. Not to say they've all disappeared, but the thinking becomes fainter, thinking becomes softer. And it's like the mind feels clearer. It's a sense of mental clarity, which is
mhm.
very subtle, but I mean that's the best word I have to put on it. It doesn't mean clarity of thinking, which is what we know. I'm thinking very clearly, very rationally. It doesn't mean that at all. It's just like the experience is more real. It's like that. The experience of the present moment is more real than it was when it was covered up by thinking. So it's that sort of clarity, a sense of reality to it.
Yeah, I mean, I know for myself, it can be experienced in different ways, but one of the ways the presence can be experienced is just like a vital force, or can be experienced as a sense of wonder and beauty, right? I mean, it has different flavors to a
Yeah,
degree, I would
yeah,
say, but yeah, there's different ways that it shows up, and it's just like, yeah, I mean, like as I always saying, it never gets any better than it is right now. It's only your mind's judgments about everything determine
yes,
like
it is.
what you believe. Like things are great right now. No, they're bad. It's always they say everything's same.
Yeah,
It sounds boring to the mind. It's so boring. Same. I don't like same. I want difference.
I
Right?
know.
It's
I mean,
something.
when people say they're bored in meditation,
Right?
that's just another thought,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
They're thinking, oh, nothing's happening, therefore I am bored. And the thought is, I want some more exciting experience. I'm
Mm-hmm.
bored. Nothing's happening. Nothing exciting is happening. It won't be happening. Nothing. You go out after the meditation and do exciting things.
Right, right.
So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like, I think, I wonder sometimes, because some people say I cannot meditate unless I have a guided meditation. I just can't do it. Don't let me. uh, what's your take on, I always tell people it's okay. If that's how you want to start by doing guided meditations, I think that's fine. Guided meditations are always fine. It's just like ultimately I want people to go beyond that, right? But I always say, well, if that's where your entry point is, where you actually meditate, you actually get started with this process,
yeah.
then go for it. What's your take on guided meditation?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I mean, when I'm teaching meditation, both both to new people, but also to people who've been meditating a while, it's very useful to be guided in terms of the practice. I'll say to them, okay, let's breathe out with a deep sigh. Now let's notice the relaxation. And what we've been talking about, just talking about gently in the meditation, just reminding them, it's really useful. And I mean, I have, meditation course online on meditation. If I didn't guide it, then you'd just be listening to nothing. But
Mhm.
it's actually a guided meditation or a series of guided
Mhm.
meditations
Mhm.
to
Mhm.
help you learn how to just relax the mind, coming back to the present. And once you've grasped the technique, you don't need to be guided anymore. You don't know how to do it yourself. But even then, sometimes coming back and being guided again, it's like, oh yes, I forgot that. Yes,
Right.
just to let the attention relax, that sort of thing.
There are a lot of teachers, meditation teachers that have there's like so many things. There's countless methods of doing everything, right? So there's all these different techniques. You mentioned some of them. Some teachers say just try harder. Some say follow the breath. Some say focus on a word until there are no words. And there's so many different approaches. There's one, I had a guest on, they talk about I forget what the exact name, but like I think a hard type of meditation. You follow your breath with each heartbeat, right? And you take in, there's all these tech, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful. There's beauty in it, and a feel of, oh, that feels good. But for me anyway, like ultimately, I feel most content just to do what you say, just let go of everything. Those are my favorite meditations.
Yes, yes, and mine, and that's what I've, fine-tuned over my life. I've been exploring meditation, seeing what works, and it keeps coming back to simple, and it gets simpler and simpler for me. It's just so
Mhm.
simple, and
Mhm.
partly because I've been meditating for a while, I recognize that inner quiet as you do, and it's just like,
Mhm.
oh yes, here it is, ah, and that comes as you get more familiar with it. Yeah.
Mhm.
But yes,
Now,
there's no
okay.
technique as far as I'm concerned. It's not a real technique. We're not doing anything because this
Mhm.
is another point. We're not trying to get anywhere
Right,
because we're already present. We're not
right.
trying to get anywhere. We're just removing the blocks to a full experience of being present. And so there's nothing to actually do. We're not doing anything as a practice. We're just noticing when we get caught up in a thought, just letting it go
Yeah.
and coming back, just returning.
To help people understand, I see you talk about reframing letting go as letting in and letting be. Could you tell us more about that?
Oh, yes, this is something I've explored quite a bit, and I think is really important. So when we talk about letting go, say it's some worry we have or some emotion, whatever it is, it's something we want to let go of. What we often do in meditation is like we push it to the back of our mind. We try to get rid of it. It's like this is disturbing the meditation. I don't want to be thinking about this, or I don't want this feeling to be there. And we put our attention somewhere else. We do it in life. We think about something else, do something else. But all that does is literally push it back, to the edge of the mind where it's
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
bothering us. What I
Hmm.
found is to do the opposite. First of all, well, the opposite is to let it be, to actually just allow it to be there, whatever it is, allow the emotion to be there. But before we can do that, we first have to get in touch with it. Because if we've been pushing it away to the edges of our mind, we we're not really know what it is. And so letting in is allowing in. So if you're angry at somebody, first of all, there's a story you're telling yourself. This person did wrong or whatever it is. There's some story, and just noticing that story.
Mhm.
Um, but then, more importantly, is there's something going on in the body with any concern, emotion, whatever, even with any thought. There's some bodily reaction, and we use the word feeling both for emotions and for the body. And so I suggest notice how the body is feeling right now. What's going on in your body? So if it's anger, you may notice a slight tension in the jaw or in your hands or something, or whatever the emotion is. There's something going on in your body, and you probably haven't been paying it much attention. You've just been ignoring it. And so just then noticing, what is this? How strong is that? What is it? Is there anything else connected with this? And it's interesting. The more familiar you become with it, it's like the easier it is. But then again, not trying to change it as you become familiar with what is happening just what is happening in that moment. That's all.
Mhm.
And then just allowing it to be there. This sort of, I call it a magic metabolism happens. It's sort of psychic metabolism whereby it begins to dissolve. And
Mhm.
it's like most of these things, they want our attention. And we've been pushing it away. We've been doing the opposite to what it needs. So if we give it our attention, it's like okay, I've noticed you. I've noticed you. I've noticed this pain. I've noticed what's going on in the body. And it's like, it can relax. So
Mhm.
that's why I say with anything like this or worries, whatever, just do the opposite from what you tend to do, which we tend to want to get rid of it. Do the
Right.
opposite. Allow it in, let it in, feel what
Mhm.
it's like, feel what's going on in the body, and also what's going on in your mind, and let it be. And
Yeah.
and it's I mean I found it so, so important in my life. So that's why, it's a part of the book which I share with people.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I find the letting it be part to be really helpful for me is not to just let my mind continue to be busy and feel all the emotions. And then, yeah, typically, I mean, eventually it just, like you said, it just it kind of just dies down by itself without me trying to push it out, right? Like, no, it's supposed to be quiet right now, my mind and my energy. Let's just bring in the white bubbles or I don't know, white lights and golden lights and the circles of protection and everything, which are all fine if you want to use those, but I was saying like you cut them out, you cut all the cords around every direction. So all that's fine, but I think what you're saying is important in that like if you don't keep trying to just push it out, all the time, constantly to be doing that as a practice, like sometimes you're right. Like if you actually it's like it's almost like integrating, right? It's like you're integrating whatever that energy is like you're letting it digest, metabolize, like the words you use, like whatever it is, but like so that it's not as likely to just come up again for you to push out again and again is what I'm hearing you say too, right? And that's been my experience too. But it's like I guess I've been doing it for a long time where I just let it all just be there. I don't concern myself with it. I know if something really does get me angry, that's probably the hardest state to try to be really still in, like it's just like it's because it's like the anger could be so much, but then there are tools with that where you actually just try to feel it even more. They'll feel it more technique, right? Feel it
That's
even more
what I
then, and feel as much as you possibly can. Then it will digest anyway. That's what I
say.
found.
And feel what's going on in the body, not just anger. We tend to think I'm angry, and it's a sort of emotional state, and we get caught up in that, which is what it's meant to do.
Mhm.
But like,
Mhm.
what is behind it? What's actually happening
Mhm.
in the body? With any
Mhm.
emotion, there's something in
Mhm.
the body, and just being aware of that, for me, is the
Mhm.
key.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Being aware of, yeah. So there's a lot of more, technique, I guess you could use in terms of talking with the energy, processing the energy, but a foundation is just let it be, just be with it, right? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
that's really beautiful. It's a lot very much simpler. Hmm.
yes. and it works.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And again,
And
you're
then
not trying to do anything to it. That's what's different. You're not
right
trying to do anything with it. You're just allowing it to be.
now, somebody's still like, but I still don't know what I'm supposed to do to meditate. I know you got a whole book to help them with that. What are some of some of like I want to get going meditating. How do I go about that? How do I get this thing started? Get Peter's book first, but in the meantime, what could they do to get started?
Um, Really, it's very, very simple. It's just what we've been talking about in terms of, coming back to the present. Most of my book is not about how to meditate is very, very simple. The book is about how to deal with what seems to get in the way of meditation. And we talked
Hmm.
about some of that, how to deal with the thoughts that seem to get in the way. We just touched on how to deal with emotions that maybe get in
Hmm.
the way. We talked about noise, that sort of thing. It's like,
Hmm.
so most of the book is, well, the good middle part of the book is about that, is how to deal with things we think are disturbing the meditation, but aren't really. They're just other experiences happening in the present moment. But the basic start is just what we were saying. It's like sit down. I always recommend eyes closed because vision, 80% of our sensory input is vision. And so if you've got your eyes open, that'll start thoughts going off. Oh, what's that? What's that set? Whatever it is. Eyes closed, comfortable. You don't have to sit in a lotus position or anything fancy. For me, it's like a comfortable position, but one where you're alert, you're upright. If you just lounge back on a couch, that's going to encourage you to go dozy and sleepy. So, in a chair, an upright position, or on a cushion, if that's what you like,
Mhm.
close your eyes and then just do this thing of a few deep sighs. And that's bringing you back to the present moment already. And as we said, it's a sign everything's okay.
Mhm.
And then just noticing your experience, whatever it is, the sensations in the body, or there's that, or there's this twitch in my face, or there's this
Mhm.
ache here, or whatever it is. There's my feet on the floor. Noticing that, there's the sound of the refrigerator, whatever it is, just being open, this zoomed out awareness. And then when you notice you're caught up in a thought, been off on a thought, in a way, when you realize you've been thinking, you are already present again. The thought was covering the present. When you realize you're thinking, it's like, oh, I was off on a thought. So you're present to the fact you had been thinking. And
Hmm.
then you just don't follow that thought anymore. And the present will just re-emerge. It's there. You'll just
Hmm.
notice it again. It's like, oh, yes, here I am sitting in the chair. Here's this experience. It's as simple as that, as simple as that, the essence of the practice.
Hmm. So once people begin doing that, what do you recommend as far as when, because meditation needs to happen, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so it takes a commitment, it takes a focus, it takes a decision. So I always tell people to meditate if they haven't been meditate, if they're not experienced meditators, especially, start as soon as possible to start your day. Like maybe you have to go to the bathroom, then meditate immediately.
Yeah.
That's what I recommend because I feel like the minute they take any other actions, it's very possible their mind's gonna talk them out of, yeah, well, let's go to do this just now. We'll do it after that. And it's all, the next thing. So I say if they're gonna get started, at least start in the beginning of the day with whatever amount of time, right? But just get started because it is a practice, and you can kind of expand from there. How do you recommend people get the practice
I
part?
recommend you find a time that works for you because we have different routines. For some people,
Hmm.
first thing in the morning, they've got kids and things, whatever it is,
Right,
jumping on the
sure.
bed.
Now,
So,
my thing would be, I don't care. They come
well,
jumping on the bed at 5, and you start meditating. I know it's chaotic. I've had kids, but it could be any time, right? But then wake up 15 minutes early. Then
no,
meditate while you're jumping around for a minute. Like that, that's the kind of teacher I am at that. But I hear you. Maybe it doesn't work optimally for everybody, but that's kind of where I would end up going.
I say whatever works for you. For some people, it's like at the end of the workday, that transition into the evening to come back. And there it can be really valuable. It's like having a weekend's rest in 15 minutes. It can feel like that. You can just let go. It's particularly valuable then because you're letting go of a lot of the stress and tension you've built up. as it's in meditation, the whole body relaxes, and it's showing how stress is dissolving in meditation. There's a lot of evidence on that. So I say whatever works for you. That's the important thing. Something that fits into your routine easily, and you can make a habit of it.
Yes, yeah, totally that. And when I talk about people meditating multiple times a day, yeah, anytime you can pair it with something else you do right after my walk, I always meditate, or whatever, or whatever it is, or like you said, like right after work or
Yeah.
whatever situation it may be. I remember I used to meditate in the parking lot at lunches, I used to work jobs eons ago. I just go out in the parking lot, close my eyes, I always, yeah. Part of me always wondered what people are thinking. Right? I said, well, they probably just think I'm taking a nap, so it doesn't really matter what they think anyway. But so I just go ahead and go out there, and so yeah, you just create the space to do it when it works for you. I like that. So now that you don't have any dogmas on how long you need to meditate, or how many times a day,
I
or
have
anything.
advice. I have advice, which
Okay.
is um, I would say not less than 15 minutes
Yes.
because you
Yes.
need to let it relax. You need to let the body relax and actually taste it and settle down. It takes probably 10 minutes to really settle down. So 15 to really get a good taste of meditation. Now, as I say, if you're short of time, some time, but generally 15 is the minimum, and I would say 30 is the maximum. I mean,
Mhm.
if you do it for more than 30 minutes at a time, you really get a bit spaced out. The whole point of meditation is to
Mhm.
enhance our life. And so it's something we
Mhm.
go back and dip into and then come out. So I would say something in that range of, 15 to 30 minutes. For some reason, 20 minutes is stuck with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And that seems an ideal time, 20 minutes. For some reason, it feels very comfortable just to do
Mhm.
20 minutes. So I would say that's a starting point. If you
Mhm.
want to do less, 15, but don't do more than 30 minutes.
And everybody's different, right? Some people are like, no, I start my day 2-hour meditations. It's perfect for me, right? And so
Right.
everybody's got their own take on it, right? That's why I love having people on the show um, to share all their perspectives because I think they're all valid. They're valid. When you get start getting really spacey, I mean, have a hard time grounding into the day. After you might want to do nothing for the rest of the day. You do too much meditation all at once. That's why I do one at lunchtime. And lately, I used to do 20 minutes at lunch, but lately, with everything, all the other routines I do, I take 10 or 15 minutes. And for me, 10 minutes could feel like a really long time because I feel the presence strongly. So I was like, okay, wow, this last minute felt like 20 minutes, So, but that's, I think like that's the beauty of like continuing the meditation practice for years and decades and whatnot is that tends to happen. It's by my experience. At some point, it's not like I'm like every year 10 times I feel more present, 10 times more presence every year I meditate. It's not that extreme, but you tend to have this more profound connection more and more, most of us anyway, as we meditate more, more consistently. Although we'll have storms, right? Wow, my meditations are just wild lately, right? Like that can happen too. So it's quite a journey. So, so Peter, I know you have, yeah, obviously you've got the book, so I'd love for you to tell people more about your book, and where they can, grab a copy of that and how they can go further with you.
Great. Yeah. Well, I mean, this book is my most recent book, is what we've been talking about,
Hmm.
How to Meditate Without Even Trying. It's published, regular publisher. You should find it in any bookstore, or they can order it, or it's on Amazon. It's on all the online bookstores. So the book is readily available. And as I
Hmm.
said, it's got a lovely foreword by Eckhart Tolle, who really supported the book. Um, for me, more information about me, the basic place is my website, which is peterrussell.com with 2 L's on Russell, not the French way with 1 L, peterrussell.com. And I've got lots of videos there of talks and things, lots of videos and lots of writing. There's about 400 different pages there when you delve into the site, things I've written over the years. Some of my books are up there, past books are up there online, um, meditations. And as I said, I've got an online meditation course, which you can access there, which has the same title as the book, How to Meditate Without Even Trying, which is basically it's five basic lessons, you know, starting off what we were talking about here today, and then the second lesson goes deeper into it. So it builds up over the lessons, one a week, so that by the end of that, you've probably really got a good handle on it. And the feedback I have has been so good on that. People saying, "Oh, now I feel I can meditate easily. I was stuck. It's like this has breathed a fresh air into my meditation." So I'm really happy that people are liking that. But the website is the place to go, peterrussell.com, and you'll find everything. I have my own Peter bot, by the way, which is loaded with all I've written, all transcribing of all my lectures, videos. It's all up there as the background, and you can ask it questions, and it delves into my work and answers them. And as AI has got, it's been there like 2.5 years now, nearly 3 years, and I'm amazed now as AI has got better and better. Its answers are getting really better. I was actually looking at today because occasionally I get to see answers anonymously just so that we can get feedback. And I thought, this is saying what I would have said very clearly. And often it says things I hadn't thought of. It is getting so good. And that's again is on my website. Just I call it Peter Bot or Peter Russell Bot, but it's there. Yeah. So what that means is I can be teaching people just when I'm not there.
Right,
My bot
right.
my bot does it, and I'm amazed at how well it's doing it now.
Right. I mean, talk about, duplicating yourself. I mean, it's
Yeah.
and it always be different in a way, but sometimes you're right. There are sometimes enhancements. I listen to certain videos that are AI, right? Different teachers of the old, I'll just put it that way, right? And there's all AI, a ton of it, right? Online on YouTube. They're all AI voices, but they sound like the teacher, right? And
Yeah.
they're just telling you all these things. And I'm like, it doesn't matter if it's AI to me ultimately, if it's actually resonating, if it's helping me, it doesn't, I don't care if it was the actual original teacher personally, like it's helping me, it doesn't matter. And the fact that you have the level of access, you could ask a question and you get an answer from Peter, in a sense. So right back, so that's really, yeah, that is powerful. So check that out at peterrussell.com and take advantage of that. So, Peter, we're at the point of the show where we're going ahead and going to do some energy scanning and
Okay.
share a couple of downloads of whatever I'm getting for you today. And I always say, audience, this is for you too. There's something in it for you too. So if you're ready, I'm going to share whatever comes through, any guidance or anything I'm picking up on to share with you. Ready?
Hmm.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's from your, like I don't know. I just share again the things that come through. I get this like maybe it's from like the generations of men or whatever. I get this like I hear the song Macho Man coming through. So macho man or whatever. And I want to be a macho man or whatever. I just see you being like, my head's like and the image is like your head shaking. No, I don't want to be a macho man. Yeah. So it's like, but I feel like there's something in your back, your cultural or whatever, all the background or whatever. It's like, yeah, we're a real man, and your thing is like so I'm like acknowledging you, like you're like you've broken some of that, feels like you've broken a mold, is how it came through. And I just want to salute that and just recognize that for a moment. And we're gonna do just one more download and then maybe we can
Okay.
reflect on it for a moment. Yeah. So, okay, and again, I don't have any attachment to what comes through. I just share what comes through. So I'm seeing the cross and yeah, energy of however you want to look at it, but of the Christ or the energy of the Christ union with God or however you look at it. But I see that energy in you, and I see in your centering in your heart, and the energy is saying like like sort of like saying we want to experience ourselves, the energy wants to experience itself through you even more than already, as deep as you've got, like it wants to experience even more. And so I just want to share that message. It's like more, and it's just this feeling of like it could be total, like this total kind of feeling that could. So because I could feel some of the density and some aspects of the energy field, right? And so it's just like the sense of like he just wants to branch out and expand in your presence even more. And so it's just a beautiful, thing that it showed me. Like I said, just a couple of downloads. I'd love to hear any of your reflections or thoughts about what came through.
Thank you. Um, I shall ponder the Macho Man. I mean, um, I I don't see myself that way, but also
Right.
I feel I've been all my life I've been sort of a bit of a rebel.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
There's a bit of a rebel in me, always. Yeah.
Right.
Um, the second bit, I feel there's a lot more I have to share. There's a lot more, um, not just about meditation, about other things. And I mean, the reason I wrote this book was, I'm getting on, and I feel I've had a lot of experience here. I don't want to leave this planet without actually having shared what I discovered about meditation. But there's other areas I've been exploring about consciousness and other things, and big picture of humanity. And I want to share those more. I've written some books on that, but I feel there's more to share there. And more of my own experience as well in meditation. So I feel there's a lot more waiting to come through.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. The Macho Man, just to reiterate, I'm saying you're not like this macho type of energy or whatever. You're rebel, yeah, but now I'm the Macho Man. I'm saying you broke that mold, like you broke that mold. Now, maybe you don't see it in your heritage or your background, like people are being that way. Maybe that's not true, but that's what was coming through. It's like it is in your background, and that you've broken through that mold to a degree for sure, or a lot, I want to say. So anyway, yeah, you can ponder that one, but like I just want to make clear what I was saying. Yeah.
I think it's in the background of our culture.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so that's fantastic. If everybody, if you want to check me out and possibly get an energy scan from me one way or another, because I'm constantly doing them, whether it's a free call or an event I'm at where I'm speaking or whatever. Like so many different ways I offer energy scans, one-to-one energy scans. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com, get the free meditate make money meditation while you're there. Take advantage of that. That's another great nice little guided meditation. Open up your energy, get some downloads from your guides, and maybe give you some insights on what does want to happen. The vibrancy wants to flow through you and connect you with new opportunities. So check that out, and then that'll get you notifications for the podcast and when I'll be energy scanning and all the things that I do to clear energy and help you grow your business too, as a spiritual rock star type and visionary healers and all the rest, right? So go ahead and take advantage of that at yoursacredpurpose.com. So, Peter, I'm so grateful. I hope everybody that feels called will absolutely rush. I want to say it that way. Eckhart said it to his publisher, Mark Allen, one of his publishers, Mark Allen. And he says, I'll try, but I'm going to rush slowly or whatever. And you can rush slowly, to Peter Russell's website. Great, grab his book while you're at it. I hope you do that. And Peter, I am just been so blessed to have you on the show today. It's been really wonderful and refreshing to hear your insight and to just remind us how easy it can be and to let it be easy and to relax into it and all that stuff. So thank you so much for all you do.
Well, thank you, and really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Thanks to all our guests. I want to say our guests, our listeners. Keep on tuning in. We'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till next time.
For listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday.
Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.